Hari Om Tat Sat. Welcome to Swami Jyotirmayananda Society, our journey to self-realization. Please subscribe for the mystical meanings and to enjoy daily satsang. We are currently exploring the book Advice to Householders, authored by Swami Jyotirmayananda Maharaj, narrated by myself, Swami Nikhilananda. In today's satsang, we will cover Samskaras of childhood and adolescence. Samskaras are deep rooted impressions like unsprouted seeds which germinate according to whenever the karma is ready and it fructifies. So, after the birth of the child, the following samskaras are performed at different stages of the child's growth: Namakaranam, Annaprasanam, Chudakaranam, Upanayanam, and Samavartanam. So these are the rituals that are used to nourish the samskaras and to guide the soul in the proper way. The ritual of samskara has three purposes. Number one is malapanayanam, or removal of impurities. Mala apanayanam. Mala means impurities, and apanayanam, removal of those impurities. And then ati shadayadham, or enrichment. And finally Nunang Purak, or supplementation. So these are deep Sanskrit terms, so we don't need to get entangled in the terms so much as to understand what these functions do. For example, when a farmer brings wheat from the field, it must first be subjected to removal of the husk. Secondly, it is dried in the sun and then turned into flour, and the flour is then enriched by adding vitamins or other needed nutrients. So, thirdly, after cooking bread, one must prepare vegetables or some soup as supplementary articles to be eaten along with the bread for a healthy, holistic meal. These samskaras and the process for preparing them works the same. By the performance of samskaras, the same three processes are applied to human personality: the removal of defects, cultivation of virtues, and the attainment of educational skills and development of spiritual qualifications. All these nourish the soul, and the body becomes into a serious qualified aspirant. So as parents, we bring healthy, lovely children in the world, and we give them nutrition of these samskaras. So let's discuss each of the ones we talked about. Namakaranam: on an auspicious day, the child is given a meaningful name with the recitation of Vedic mantras. This is considered a very holy tradition, because then for the rest of his life the child will be named by that particular name. So in the olden days, and even today in many places, religious names are preferred, names of gods or holy scriptures, etc. This is done on the 10th, 11th, 12th, 18th, or 19th day after the birth of the baby. If for some reason the naming ceremony is delayed, it may be done on the 100th day. In general, people in India give divine names, as we discussed, to their children, such as Rama, Krishna, Saraswati, Lakshmi, Devi, etc. An inspiring name is uplifting for the child and for all those who will come into contact with the child, because then they will be taking the Lord's name. If the child's name is Rama, every time you say Rama, you're also chanting a mantra at the same time. Unknowingly, you repeat a divine mantra by giving a divine name to your child. The second one is Anna Prashanam, which means In the sixth month, the child is given solid food for the first time. At this time, mantras are recited and oblations are offered to deities. When food, which is a manifestation of God, is sanctified by the chant of mantras, it nourishes the body and mind in a special way and helps to embellish one's life with spiritual qualities. So, also special prayer to God, since the child is for the first time going to enjoy the solid food and he's growing in matter. The third one is Chuda Karanam. This is the ceremony in which the head of the child is shaved, also known as Mundan, meaning, and generally uh, that's a pretty common tradition in India. It is performed on the first or the third year. Generally, most people do it after the first year, before the beginning of the second year. It may also be performed in the fifth, seventh, 10th, or 11th year, although those are rare. Certain impurity that might have lingered with the child from birth is now removed. So that's the thinking behind it, that besides all the subtle impressions we may have brought from the past, by removing all the hair, we have removed that. In addition, shaving of the head is symbolic of renouncing all worldly desires. That's why you see most sages and saints, including myself, with a bald head, meaning every time the desires come, the hair grows, you shave it again and again as a constant reminder to not get stuck in the material world, to not get stuck in name and form. All these things will continue till our departure from this earth, but we must constantly monitor that and keep our gaze at Guru's lotus feet and God's feet, so we don't sway from our core. So, in a subtle way, the child is reminded of the divine project of attaining God realization. So, that is the subtle meaning that we are also giving to the children. And then we discuss the Upanayanam Sanskara. The literal meaning of this term is bringing near. Like we also say, fast is known as Upavas. Up means coming near, closer. So, implying that the child is brought near a guru or a spiritual preceptor. So, this is a very important phase of the child's life where he is now getting ready for formal education. He is invested with a sacred thread known as Yagyopavita and initiated into the sacred Gayatri mantra. With this initiation, he attains his second birth. He is now born to unfold and discover his spiritual nature. Significance of the sacred thread that is given to the child at the time of his samskara, Upanayanam Sanskara. The sacred thread consists of three threads knotted together. This means that whoever wears the sacred thread has adopted the path of disciplining the mind, speech, and body by controlling thoughts, words, and actions. Thus, the significance of three, which also means the three gunas, and also the three threads are symbolic of God, who has its three aspects: Sat, existence; Chit, knowledge; and Ananda, bliss. So, the project in your life is to realize your essential divine nature, or Satchitananda. On receiving this sacred thread, the boy enters Brahmacharya ashrama, or celibate life or student life. The student stage of life, which is characterized by discipline and devotion to studies. According to tradition, a girl may not wear a sacred thread, but she is equally entitled to repeat the Gayatri Mantra and discipline herself for receiving education, for enriching her life with spiritual qualities, and attaining the goal of life, which is self realization. The sacred thread is a constant reminder of your spiritual ideal. You are not this physical body, you are essentially the immortal self. You have limitless possibilities. Amazing things can be accomplished by leading a life of discipline and austerity. A brahmachari should read about the lives of great men spiritual personalities such as Swami Vivekananda, Mahatma Gandhi, Swami Ram Tirath, Shivananda, and other sages and saints, and to be inspired by them. In daily life, a student should practice yoga exercises, pranayama, meditation, and japa. Japa means repetition of your mantra. This will keep him free of the stress and strain of the modern world and enable him to cultivate divine virtues such as humility, devotion to God, serenity of mind, fearlessness, etc. His life will become a great blessing for himself and for others. This is laying down a strong, firm foundation for the soul that has come into your life. Now, moving on to the next sanskara is Samavartanam sanskara. This marks the end of the Brahmacharya ashrama, meaning after the studies have been completed under the guidance of a guru or spiritual preceptor. In ancient times, students went to study in forest schools, also known as Gurukula. Guru, of course, is the preceptor, the teacher. Kula means family. So the students had to stay there, more like the modern boarding schools, except there they had to do all the chores as well to help with the teacher and also get education. So they were taught by men equipped with the power of renunciation and asceticism. So these divine teachers taught them skills to survive in the world as well as give them divine knowledge so they could then impart that knowledge to others. The teachers were vanaprasthis who had renounced their household responsibilities and had dedicated their life to pursuit of the spiritual goal, which is self realization. Thus, they were highly qualified to guide these students. At the same time, they taught students in the spirit of karma yoga, or actions performed for purifying the heart. The students received academic knowledge to help them with the practical aspects of their life, and at the same time, they acquired insight into the Vedas, which promoted their spiritual evolution. They received knowledge in two aspects. One is known as apara vidya, lower or academic knowledge, and then para vidya, higher knowledge that leads to liberation. In the process, they were also influenced by the loving care and wisdom of the wife of their guru or Guru Mata, whom they considered as their mother, because that was their family. They were away from their actual family for that many years, more like high school, 18. So they would then graduate and then go into the world. Time to serve society. After they had completed their studies, they received special blessings from their guru. In turn, they gave gifts to their guru, also known as Guru Dakshina. They were now ready to marry and enter Grihastha ashram. Griha means house, ast means to stay. So, this is the next phase of their life, and they became an active member of society because they were um, reared properly, with nourished properly with the right guidance and the right education. It is important to note that when a student returns from the forest school Gurukul, he has not completed his entire education. He has to go on receiving education in different ways. However, he becomes an active member of society. He begins to perform some jobs or take up some profession so that he can help his family and contribute to the good of society. In modern education, however, there is a serious defect. Students continue to receive education for many years, during which time they do not do anything practical for their family and society. The ancient ideal was to give a student an ethical basis for his life and endow him with special skills that were sufficient and learning so that he may become useful to his family and society. So in other words, not only were they getting the education, they were also contributing to the society at the same time. This is a matter that today's social leaders and others need to reflect upon, and the focus should not be on so much material needs and more so on holistic development and overall development of the child. So, in tomorrow's satsang, we will cover the samskara of marriage, another important phase in one's physical life. This is Swami Nikhilananda. Hari Om Tat Sat.